recording now. Hello, welcome to this live training, and those of you watching the replay, I'm Sheila Belanger. Test Drive the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap. I'm going to give you today 4 practices that'll help change your mindset. Okay, so let's get started. So the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap is a 6-step process that's a roadmap for your edges of change. And this comes from over 35 years of work that I've done, tracking clients, allies, students. What do we really need to help us really go through a transformation journey? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the 6 stages very briefly at the beginning, and then we're going to dive into 4 experiential practices from the first 3 stages. So key points to cover in this training today: my sense of who are you, what draws you to sniff out and test drive this material. What kind of key inner changes would you like to make? I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to me, Sheila, your transformation guide and coach. And I'll do just a little review of the 6 stages of the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap. And then we'll go right into test driving 4 experiential transformational practices. So glad you're here. So who are you? My sense, as I designed this roadmap, and then beyond it, the Vibes community, which is a support group for the roadmap, I feel like people drawn to my work are really ready to break free of limiting habitual inner patterns, which we all have, and it can be so frustrating. And to effectively navigate the edge of change between your outworn versions of self and who you long to be in these pivotal times, which are so necessary for change. So I feel like you're ready to go on an inner journey and to awaken your deeper imaginative nature, which again, we all have. And I feel especially people drawn to the roadmap, the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap, you're really ready to commit to effective inner work practices of self-healing, cultivating your innate wholeness, and apprenticing to your visionary, intuitive nature. Now, I see visionary as one who has unusual foresight and imagination. There's many ways you can define it, but particularly the capacity as a visionary to open your imagination and to recognize things ahead of time. It's like a different kind of sense is cultivated in a visionary, and the roadmap is particularly designed to help you actualize and cultivate relationship to your inner visionary. So a little bit about me. I'm Sheila Belanger. I'm a transformation coach and guide. And as a certified coach, I use a process-oriented approach to guide you at the edge, the place where your past and future selves meet. For over 35 years, I've effectively translated consciousness-shifting inner work practices into life-changing ways. Now, we know that inner edges are really challenging, because at these edges, you know that your old life and identities are over, but you do not yet know who you are becoming nor where you are going. Sometimes it's called the betwixt and between place. It's very fertile and rich, and also very challenging because of the disorientation. You're not who you were, and you don't yet have a full experience of who you're becoming, and it's really challenging. Because at your edge, what I want to do is give you this True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap to support you to access enduring inner transformation practices so that you can navigate limitations and unleash the potential of your authentic, generative inner visionary. Now, this is especially for you, but particularly in these dire times in our world with the pandemic crisis, with all the upheaval, the necessary upheaval of social change that must happen, with racial injustice, social inequality, climate chaos. It's like we need to all be fully resourced as our true authentic selves so that we can lean in whatever way is right for us to contribute to helping us all navigate these intense changes. Your inner visionary calls you to remember your multidimensional nature so that you can bring magic into your everyday world. I'm all about what I call practical magic, the sense of opening to other dimensions of yourself and the world and the universe, accessing it in a healthy, congruent way so that you can help change reality in the best way possible. All right, bring magic into everyday life. Because in these tumultuous edge times for our world, your authentic multidimensional presence is a very, very potent contribution. So here's the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap and its 6 stages. And it helps you at your edges of change. I'm going to go over the 6 stages in just a moment. Okay, so let's look at the 6 stages as an overview. The 6 stages of the transformation journey, you go on the journey in your own authentic way. Stage 1, you track your inner figures. This is where you understand how key inner figures within you contribute to your habitual limitations. You're not judging them, you're tracking them. That's a really, really important piece, because what often happens is we get so frustrated by when we're held hostage by our inner figures that we just get, agitated and freaked out. And what you want to do is step back and track them, track their behavior, track their MO, so that you can liberate yourself, because they're part of you. You can't get rid of them, but there's a way to track them. So track your inner figures. Stage 2, you make attitude adjustments. So key. You make key mindset shifts to develop a visionary mindset. And in this training today, the test drive training, I'll give you 2 practices for making attitude adjustments. In step 3, you gather your allies. This is where you cultivate sustainable relationships with inner and outer allies. You can't make the transformation journey solo with your regular consciousness. You need inner and outer allies to help you do this. Stage 4, you use maps to navigate your edges, to see and track the bigger picture of your life journey. Really, really helpful, because sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, and it's important to get a bigger perspective. Where am I? Where have I come from? Where do I think I'm going? There's some really great maps. Now, I'm not going to cover any maps in this one, but I will note for you the live training I did yesterday, and then tomorrow will be an overview of all 6 stages. Stage 5, you steward your sensitivity. This is where you embrace self-responsibility and respect for your deep sensitivity. Again, you can't fight against it. It doesn't help to deny it or try to compensate for it. It's better to lean in with wholeness and say, I'm a sensitive being, and how do I steward it in a good way? Okay. And finally, in stage 6, you what I call apprentice to your inner visionary, where you are cultivating, continuing, ongoing inner work practices so that you can offer your unique presence to the world in mature and grounded ways. All right. So we're going to test drive some of the experiential transformational practices from the first 3 stages. Now, before we go into this, I want to say everything is optional. I so appreciate those of you joining me live and those of you who will be joining me in the replay. As I offer you each of these experiential practices, at any time, if it doesn't feel right for you, stop doing it. Don't engage with it. Fast forward the replay if you want, because these are transformational practices and they can destabilize your regular consensus reality self. Destabilize, hopefully in a good way, but again, it's up to you to take care of yourself and just don't opt out of anything that does not feel right for you. And also at the end of the live training, I am also going to be available for Q&A if anybody wants to have more information or more support for whatever came up in the experiential practices. So we're going to just focus on the first 3 stages with the experiential practices. So stage 1, track your inner figures. Understand how key inner figures contribute to your habitual limitations. Okay, you're going to sniff it out. Now, your limiting wounded inner figures usually try to control you with restrictive self-talk, punitive inner mantras, and dramatic fear stories. Their main territory of control is in your strategic mind. Your strategic mind is a primitive, binary-focused part of you that tries to keep you safe from danger. It's constantly assessing your life situations. Stop, go, yes, no, good, bad. Now, please understand, your strategic mind is necessary. We want to make sure we don't walk across a road when there's a red light, okay, or drive across the road. But the trouble is the strategic mind is a very limited part of you, and its main agenda is to keep you safe. And usually that means keep you safe, small, not changing. Okay, stay in your box. And binary is for computers, not for humans, okay? Self-reflection and self-tracking are key practices to stop from being held hostage by your limiting inner figures. This is stage 1 about this, because you're more than you think you are. You're so much more than you think you are. Now, you have four primary intelligences, not just your mind. You have your senses, what your body knows, the deep, like the gut feeling that happens sometimes. Your body just tells you something. You have the intelligence of your feelings, of your heart, your emotions. How do you feel about something? There's so much intelligence there. You have your imagination and what you can dream forward into the imagery that happens inside of you, whether it's visual or it's auditory, it's kinesthetic. Your imagination is a huge intelligence, which is definitely diminished and actually dished in our consensus reality. And yet it's a huge intelligence you want to cultivate. And then finally, the mental intelligence, really, really important. But underneath your strategic mind in its binary black and white, yes, no, go, frenetic energy, is what we call your deep thinking. This is the part of your mind that really has a broader view, that sees the bigger picture, connects the dots, makes meaning, can see a much greater awareness. And that's a really powerful intelligence to be with. So the first one we're going to talk about with experiential is what I call the windows of wisdom. These are your four primary intelligences. And when you get in touch with your four windows of wisdom, you can go beyond your strategic mind and effectively track yourself. Okay, so here's test drive number one. I'm going to give you a short Windows of Wisdom guided imagery journey. Again, this is optional. If you're live, you can just hang out for about the next 7 to 10 minutes. If you're watching on replay, again, I invite you to come into it. Before you begin, I forgot to mention, you might want to have a notepad or a journal nearby, because as you come out of the guided imagery journey, there might be some insights you have that you just want to jot down. Now, if you've never done a guided imagery journey before, it's very simple. I'm basically going to guide you through the whole thing. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just gently prompt you and help you support opening up to other ways of knowing your four windows of wisdom. Again, I remind you at any time during this journey, it doesn't feel right for you, just open your eyes and come out of it, okay? So let's begin by getting really comfortable. I always like with a guided journey to just start with stretching the body a bit. Really let yourself come into your body. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths. And the first deep breath in as you exhale, really ground yourself. If you're sitting, put your bum on your seat, your feet on the ground, just like, I'm here. Take another deep breath. Open your awareness of the sky. It's kind of like open up to spaciousness, the air around you. And then finally, third deep breath in as you inhale. I invite you to exhale, gently close your eyes, and set your intention to explore your four windows of wisdom. And begin with a breath in and out, and focus your attention on your body and your senses. All that means is just notice what's happening with your body. Notice the breath rising. Notice if there's any tweaks or little hurts in the body. There may not be. Notice what in your body calls for attention. And trust whatever happens, including nothing. So what is it your body knows in this moment? Just be open to listen on a sensate level. What does your body know? And again, trust whatever happens. If nothing happens, trust it. If something happens that disturbs you, actually, you can come out of the journey. What is it your body knows? What's the truth that's in your body right now? Okay, keeping your eyes closed, breathe in and shift a bit. And now turn your awareness to your heart and your emotions. What's present for you on a feeling level right now? Sometimes there can be some big feelings. Just keep breathing. It's important to not deny them, to not marginalize them, but to be with them. So, what's the wisdom of your heart? What emotions are present for you right in this moment? Be open to that and just really notice. Notice and be aware and breathe. And remember that to trust whatever happens in your guided journey. We're not lingering on any of this. We're just noticing what's present. What's in your heart? What feelings are present? Okay, keeping your eyes closed, take another deep, gentle breath in and out. Exhale, and turn your attention to what I call your imagery window or your imagination window. What that means, with eyes closed, you might be visually seeing something. You might be hearing something beyond my voice. You might have a kinesthetic sensation. You might have a memory come unbidden, or a story you're suddenly involved in that you don't even have any idea where it came from. Or again, nothing may happen. They might just be colors. Trust it all. So let's pay attention to what's in your imagination window, the wisdom of your imagery and your imagination. Just be open to whatever is present. Remember to keep breathing. And trust your process. So again, eyes closed, take a nice deep breath, and we'll shift to the fourth window of wisdom, the deep thinking or the mental window. And now that you've had a bit of time with the other windows of wisdom, you may find as you look at what's in your mind, perhaps there'll be less strategic mind and more big picture. May not be. If that's not there, don't worry about it. But like, what does your deep thinking tell you? What's the pattern recognition, the insight, the wisdom that's present in your mind right now? Be open to that and keep breathing. Don't push anything away. Just track what's there. Be open to what's there. Remember to breathe and try to go underneath your strategic mind in its binary freneticism. Okay, take a nice deep breath, and I invite you, if it feels right for you for a moment, touch your heart with your hands and thank yourself for your willingness to try out, to test drive the four windows of wisdom. Invite you to gently breathe and open your eyes when you're ready. I'm going to pause the recording for both those live and those watching on replay so you can have a couple minutes to jot down anything that might have come forward from this. Okay, so thanks for doing test drive number 1. I want to give you an option here. If you like the Windows of Wisdom guided image journeys, or you'd like to do more, I want to remind you, those of you on the call who've been here before, or if you're new to me, you can get a free 7-day challenge, which gives you once a day a guided imagery journey with one of the 4 windows of wisdom, plus a combination guided journey with all 4. And it's a totally free program. You can get it at my website, truenaturetransformation.com/store. Just sign up for it. Okay, and you'll get access to it, and you can just have those guided imagery journeys to the windows of wisdom for your own use and continued practice. Okay, so stage 2 in the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap, make attitude adjustments. It's so important. Okay, because we know a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. That's just the facts, Jack. Okay, change it. And for thousands of years, people have practiced mindfulness meditation as a way to alleviate suffering and access their true nature. It's a simple, proven, yet profound practice to support you to make life-changing attitude adjustments. And many people who come to work with me, it's not the first rodeo for them with meditation, but like most of us, we get busy, we get out of practice, and it's always good to renew it or come to it for the first time. Mindfulness meditation is an amazing resource for life-changing work. Joseph Goldstein says, mindfulness is the key to the present moment. Without it, we cannot see the world clearly, and we simply stay lost in the wanderings of our mind. Now, basic steps of mindfulness meditation. There's other ways to do it, but this is just the core. You take a seat, on a chair or a cushion, and you're comfortable. Number 2, you're in a sitting position with your back straight and upright, and then your palms can rest down or up on your thighs. Just in a really comfortable way. Some people put the hands in a mudra, whatever's comfortable for you. The third thing, basically what you're doing is you're noticing and following your breath. Some people gently place attention on the out breaths where you feel the breath, the out breath coming through your nostrils, whatever's right for you. But basically, in the mindfulness meditation, you're following your breath. And then you note as any thoughts or feelings that arise, you note them without judgment. They will show up, okay? But it's more like, okay, there it is. And you try as much as possible not to follow it. But step number 5, when you lose your place in the process, because we will, you just start over again. You come back to the breath, okay? Very, very simple and yet profoundly life-changing. So test drive number 2, very simple, mindfulness meditation minute, okay? I'm going to time us and do it with you. And this is another way to look at shifting your mindset, making an attitude adjustment. So get comfortable, again, seated wherever you are, shoulders back, heart open, spine straight. Invite you to gently close your eyes. And for 1 minute, we'll do mindfulness meditation together. Okay, I invite you to gently open your eyes and come back. Very simple. Again, for most of you, you know how to do this. It's just a reminder. This is a very powerful experiential practice for transformation, mindfulness meditation. And there are so many resources for you on the internet, teachers, books, guides. You can just go right back into that, okay? All right, so next we're going to go what's called process work. This is a profound practice system for attitude adjustments and deep transformational work. Process work offers you ways to explore your multidimensional nature. It's a multi-leveled and interdisciplinary approach to individuals, relationships, groups, and organizations. It's a basic art and scientific skill for following the various experiences and communication styles of people around the world. You're following process. Now, process work was developed by Arnie Mindell while he researched illness as a meaningful expression of what Carl Jung called the unconscious mind. Process work has been further developed in collaboration with his wife, Amy Mindell. And by the way, I forgot to put this on the slide deck, but if you go to the website, www.aamindell.net, you can get lots of information on the Mindells and process work, or just search for process work. Now, there are key aspects to the process work worldview that deeply support the transformation journey. They are that the roots of process work are in Taoism, the concept of deep democracy, and the concept of the 3 levels of awareness. I'm going to go through each of these, and then we're going to have an experiential process work exercise to try out. So the roots in Taoism: follow the wisdom of the flow of nature. The process shows the way. Your process shows the way. The process that's happening with other people shows the way. And in the transformation journey, you can learn ways to track and align with your authentic visionary processes. Deep democracy. key concept in process work and in transformation journey work. Everything belongs. There is equal value and importance to all people, voices, and levels of awareness. In the transformation journey, you can learn ways to honor all your unique inner figures and voices so you don't marginalize any of them. Because you can't, you're marginalizing yourself. It's like deep democracy within. It's a huge gift to you. And as you practice it in yourself, it's a huge gift to the world. Okay, because you're carrying a worldview that says actually everything belongs. I don't need to polarize. I don't need to marginalize. How do I hold that everything belongs? I can have my opinions about it, but also I don't have to demonize or marginalize something. So deep democracy is a really key worldview. Okay, and then the 3 levels of awareness from process work. This is a sense of there's awareness we carry, and there's 3 levels. The top level is called consensus reality. This is the everyday reality that you live in. It can be a place of polarization. And please understand, all 3 levels of awareness from process work's point of view are all sacred and holy. They all belong. There's nothing wrong with consensus reality. The challenge is when we get stuck there in our level of awareness, and it's all about everyday reality. And again, it's more like the strategic mind sometimes. Second level of awareness, process work calls dreamland. Dreamland. This is the realm of dreams and deep feelings, mythic and archetypal realms. This is a place where you can heal polarization by exploring being fluid with roles and feelings. In the dreamland level of awareness, you kind of shapeshift. You can take on a role, a point of view, and then you can shapeshift and become something else. So there's a fluidity that really opens up to a greater awareness and consciousness, the dreamland level of awareness. And the third level of awareness they call the essence level. This is the non-dual realm from which everything arises. It's the realm of energetic tendencies, of vague feelings and intuitions that you cannot yet verbalize. It's just like something's there. Very much the essence level is often like something at the corner of your eye, and you feel something, you turn to look, oops, it's not there, but you can sense something. For some people, the essence level correlates with the sense of oneness and unity consciousness. God, Goddess, all that is, Buddha awareness, whatever would be right for you, but you don't have to use any terms from a spiritual practice or spiritual belief for this. The essence level is the non-dual realm. It's the place from which everything emerges, okay? So the 3 levels of awareness are there, and they're always available to you from process work's point of view. And it's good to be able to expand your awareness to track or at least be in touch with the 3 levels of awareness. So process work offers some pathways to expand your awareness with these 3 levels. Now, 2 ways to look at the 3 levels of awareness, something called dream doors, okay? And these are places in your consensus reality consciousness where the doors open to dreamland. It's like Alice goes down the rabbit hole, okay? The dream doors. And in your psyche, you can cultivate the ability to open dream doors and allow the wisdom of the dreamland to help you in everyday life. There are many, many process work practices that help you do this. We're not going to do any of the dream door ones in this training, but I want you to be aware of it. And if you get interested, go research process work and find out more. That's one of the ways you can bring magic into your everyday world, is by opening up those dream doors, okay? And saying, okay, let's go into a bigger reality, if you will. Now, another thing from the 3 levels of awareness is called a flirt. And consensus reality moves along constantly according to clock time and linear reality. Again, it's holy. There's nothing wrong with it. And what can happen in a flirt is the sentient realm, the essence level, comes up and manifests at a particular moment in consensus reality. A flirt is one of those moments. It's a faint body sensation, a fleeting image, something that catches your attention. And the first way you usually notice sentient experience and essence level is through things that flirt with your attention. Okay, this is a really trippy part of process work, and I love it because it's in stage 2 of the roadmap, because it's an amazing way to shift your consciousness and have a new attitude. Okay, so normally you marginalize a flirt, those things that are kind of at the edge of your awareness. But by tracking and following flirts, you allow the wisdom of essence level to help you in your everyday life and expand your mindset. So to make an attitude adjustment, do a flirt practice, okay, which you're going to do right now. It's like, come on and be flirted with, okay? So test drive number 3 for the roadmap is a guided flirt practice. And as you did previously in this training, I'm going to guide you through it. And as I said before, if it's not right for you, don't do it. If in the middle of it, it's not feeling right for you, just come out of it, because it's basically a closed-eye journey, so you can come out of it very easily, okay? We'll come back to Maya later. Okay, so let's do that flirt exercise. So begin with getting comfortable again. Roll your shoulders a couple times. I'm going to track our timing here. And just let yourself get really comfortable and totally trust what's happening, okay? It's a really trippy process. I hope you'll enjoy it. I find them immensely satisfying to do a flirt practice. So just begin with closing your eyes and then gently stretching your body, okay? Just like, stretch your arms, maybe pivot your torso, even move your legs up and down. Take some nice deep breaths, roll your shoulders, get yourself really loose, just kind of loosen up. And if you're watching this in the privacy of your own car or home or wherever you are, you can even make a few sounds like, just kind of like you're getting ready for a theatrical production or a choir practice, just, well, yeah, you're kind of opening up the craziness in you in a good way, because the flirt practice really opens up other dimensions of your being. Okay, with eyes closed and sitting down or standing, you can also do this as a standing practice. I invite you to gently pivot your body around. It doesn't have to be a full 360 degrees, but just pivot your body back and forth with eyes closed until you find a sweet spot where your body just goes, oh, stop here. Just, this feels right, this particular angle I'm sitting with. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Take a nice deep breath and gently open your eyes and notice the very first thing that catches your attention wherever you are. You could be inside, outside, whatever it is, just trust it. The very first thing that caught your attention. This is the one that's flirting with you. And the first thing you want to do is just notice it visually. What is its shape? Does it have a color? How does it present itself visually? Like what does it look like, right? Sort of take that in for a little bit. Okay, here you are. And then let yourself, with your body in some way, make a gesture in response. You're in relationship to the one who's flirting with you. And sometimes I suggest you can do it with your hands. It may not feel right for you, but you might sometimes just take one of your hands and be in relationship with the flirt and just notice how your hand or your body wants to move. Again, it could be hand, or you might find you just kind of want to rotate. Just notice how your body physically moves. A gesture can be very subtle or can be you might find yourself growing, like you might be doing a hand movement and then all of a sudden you want to do all kinds of stuff. Or you might find that you're making the shape of the flirt with your hands or your body. Just keep doing the physical expression of it, continuing to take it in, continuing to take it in. And then if you're comfortable with this, only if you're comfortable, continue to look at it, make the physical gestures, and then you might find some breath or sound that wants to come through. And don't be shy. If you're in a safe place, if you're in a private place, you can just kind of let it rip. You might find yourself some tones or some breaths that are happening, and nothing at all is fine. You don't have to make any sound. Just keep following your process. What you're doing is a process work exercise. And so you've got visual with the flirt, you've got gesture with the flirt, and then potentially you have sound or breath with the flirt. And you're just like taking it in and being flirted with by this being, okay? Beautiful. Just keep being with it. Just keep being with it. And then gently let yourself stop any movement and gently close your eyes, being aware still with your eyes closed of the one that flirted with you. And then sort of drop everything. If you're sitting or standing, just get very, very still. breathing gently. And notice if there's any spontaneous movement that happens for you. For some people, it might be just a very slight movement of your torso, perhaps a small movement of your head, very slight movement of a finger or a toe. Don't force anything. Just notice if there's spontaneous movement already occurring in your body. And if that's so, notice it and amplify it, it's called, meaning make it a little bit bigger. Doesn't have to be huge, but it might be just a slight leaning back and forth. Just amplify the movement that's happening in your body already, trusting it, eyes closed. And let it just sort of follow the process. So if you find I want to do this more, I want to do this bigger, then do that. If it wants to be more subtle or deeply quiet, stillness is also a movement. Just completely be with it. And with your eyes closed as you're moving as you did before, if you find it's congruent to bring in sounds or breath, you're welcome to do that. Not necessary if it's not congruent. Stay with the movement if you can. Stay with just being present moment with the process that's happening for you. And keep amplifying, meaning go deeper into the movement and or the sound that's already happening. And with your eyes closed as you continue this, notice if your movement or your experience reminds you of anything from nature. It may not, but sometimes people find like, oh, this reminds me of this environment or this being in nature. And if that's so, it could be an element, it could be weather, it could be a landscape, a creature. If you find it's reminding you, your movement is reminding you, just bring that in and become even more of that nature component or that creature or that elemental. If that's not happening for you, just keep doing your movement, trust yourself. But bring that nature element in and just really, really be it. Okay? Keep staying true to what's happening for you. And then very gently, still with eyes closed, let yourself come to stillness. Drop all your movement, let go of any sound. Just take a nice deep breath, sitting or standing, and just be with. You've just allowed yourself to experience a flirt exercise, and there's no necessity for anything to have happened for you. But take a moment to notice how it is for you. And if there has been some kind of mindset shift or attitude adjustment, there may not be. You've opened up to 3 levels of awareness. You've gone into the essence level, but you've also been part of dreamland. Just notice what it's like to have opened your awareness. Thanks so much for giving the flirt exercise a try. It's quite an amazing experience, and getting the replay from this training, you can go back and do a flirt exercise as many times as you want. Myself and many people find it to be an amazing way to shift consciousness and make attitude adjustments, open up the mindset. Okay? Now let's come to stage 3 in the True Nature Transformation Journey Roadmap. It's called Gather Your Allies. In this stage, you cultivate sustainable relationships with inner and outer allies. And as I said at the beginning, when we're on a transformation journey, we need resources. We need especially inner resources, strength and courage, and parts of ourselves to help us go through the transformation journey. And sometimes we also need outer allies. Friends, allies, counselors, guides, coaches, community. And stage 3 is about gathering your allies. Now, you know that you carry many, many selves within you. That's a truth most of us know. It's like we're not one flavor. We're like, oh my God, there's a whole village inside here with all kinds of characters. Okay, it's just normal. I mean, that's how we are as human beings, and that you have wholeness as well as wounded inner figures. Again, it's not about marginalizing the wounded figures. It's also about recognizing you have innate wholeness within you also. Because you're a multidimensional being with wisdom and capacities and capabilities much greater than your inner wounded figure's limited versions of you. And you can connect to inner allies, I call them wholeness allies, who have access to your inner resources. We all have them. It's a matter of finding ways to connect with them and cultivate relationship with our wholeness allies. Bill Plotkin has done some beautiful work. He has a book called The Wild Mind, a field guide to the human psyche. And he says the key to healing and growing whole is not suppressing symptoms, eliminating wounds, or eradicating subpersonalities, wounded inner figures, but rather cultivating our wholeness. One of the brilliant things that Bill suggests is that we have in the Western culture had a pathologizing dominant mindset. You know, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with someone else. And he's proposing instead, rather than focus on what's wrong or pathologizing, what's right? Where's the wholeness? What are the resources that we can bring to bear for self-healing and making more wholeness? So you can cultivate the relationship to the nurturing generative adult of you to align with your true north. This is a key ally to gather in yourself. This is a term, the nurturing generative adult, comes from Bill Plotkin's work in The Wild Mind. You might have a different phrase for it, but essentially it's our inner adult. It's the part of us that's deeply compassionate and wise and strong and able to hold the more vulnerable, wounded parts of ourselves. It's a beautiful, powerful part of ourselves. And the more you cultivate your relationship to that part of you, the more you have this resource of wholeness. So test drive number 4 in this training is a wholeness ally practice. I'm going to offer you another guided imagery journey, and this time it's to your nurturing generative adult. And as you've done before in this training, whether live or in replay, it's totally optional. It's going to involve a practice of me guiding you with your eyes closed, and you're going to trust whatever happens, whatever comes up. The key thing with the guided journeys is it isn't about doing it a certain way. There's no right way to do it. I always say to my students and coachees and my clients, just your willingness to open up and set the intention to connect to your wholeness is huge. And that can be enough. And if something happens in the guided imagery journey, bonus, okay? So again, this is optional. If you want to do it, I invite you once more to get comfortable. Have your notebook or journal close by. And I'm going to guide you on this journey. So begin with a relaxation, rolling your shoulders, closing your eyes. Take a nice deep breath as you inhale. Exhale and imagine that your feet or the bottom of your body is connecting to the earth, like you have tendrils that go down, little rootlets that go down through the floor of wherever you're sitting or the earth, go deep into the earth. So this sense of feeling grounded and feeling connected to the earth. Just breathe with that a bit, like breathing up the earth energy into your body for groundedness. Exhaling gratitude and connection with earth. And then with the next big breath in, inhale the sky. Imagine that you're inhaling the fullness, the limitlessness of the sky, the universe. It's like this huge, huge place that we live in. Breathe in the sky, breathe it fully into your body. Spaciousness, openness, expansion. Breathe out gratitude to the sky and all that is in the sky, the weather, the sun, the moon, the clouds, the galaxies, everything is just like, yes. So you're connecting to this big expanded part of you, and you've also connected to the deep rooted part of you. Okay, now take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, imagine going through your heart to come out to a landscape in nature that feels very nurturing. You can trust whatever happens here. Don't try to figure it out. Just let yourself imagine going to a really nurturing place in nature. It might be a place you've been before, or it might be a place you've never been before. And again, trust what's happening in your journey, even if so-called nothing is happening. Just keep going with it, okay? If you do find yourself in a place in nature with your eyes closed, look around. In other words, check out where you're at. What kind of landscape is this? What's present here? What time of day or night does it seem to be? What season does it appear to be? Don't try to figure it out. Just take it in with your imagination. Here you are in this beautiful place. Let yourself just take in the sense of being nurtured, connected to earth in a really good, beautiful place. Just really let yourself, with your eyes closed, take that in. You might even be smelling something or hearing something. Trust whatever's happening for you. Take a nice deep breath, still with your eyes closed, and send out a call with your words or your heart. I want to meet my nurturing generative adult, my wholeness ally inside, of strength, of nurturance. Just send out, I want to meet you. And just notice what happens. For some of you, a wholeness figure may appear. Your wholeness ally, your nurturing generative adult may actually show up to you in some form. It may not be human. It might be a color, an energy. It might be an animal, something from nature. You might not see anything, but you might perceive something. And trust, even if nothing's happening, you made the call, and in some way your nurturing generative adult will come to you. If not now, perhaps in another way. If in this journey you have perceived your nurturing generative adult coming to you, meeting with you, take some time to connect. And what I mean by that is just say, you can even ask, are you my nurturing generative adult? If they say no, you can say, please take me to that one. Or if they say yes, notice if you feel okay about the relationship. And if so, really be with the nurturing generative adult and ask this question: what needs to happen between us right now? And just be open to whatever relationship process happens. Keep breathing and trust the process. Sometimes a wholeness ally won't give you words. There might be a gesture or a transmission. Just keep being in relationship with the nurturing generative adult. If you have a specific question you want to ask the nurturing generative adult, if they've showed up in some way, go ahead and do that now. And let the nurturing generative adult know that we're about ready to complete this guided journey. So if there's anything else that needs to happen to complete, let that happen now. Okay, still with your eyes closed, as we come to completion, it's always a good idea to have an attitude of gratitude. You might, if your nurturing generative adult showed up, you might thank them and know that you could use this journey at any time on the replay to go back and connect with them or touch your heart and come right back into the nature landscape. It's also lovely to say thank you to the nature landscape, whatever other resources showed up for you in this journey. Prepare yourself to return. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, imagine yourself coming through your heart and coming back to the place you started with this journey. And then go ahead and take some time to take some notes or jot down anything in your journal that you want to remember. I'm pausing the recording. Those watching the replay, I invite you to do the same. Okay, so thank you for doing that Wholeness Ally practice. Again, you'll have it linked to the replay so you can replay this at any time if you want to go back. And if it's the first time you've done a guided imagery journey to a Wholeness Ally, it takes some practice. So if you found nothing happened, don't worry about it. You can go back to the replay and try it a couple more times. You can keep doing the Window of Wisdom 7-day challenge, which gets your psyche comfortable with guided imagery and trusting what happens. Just most of all, just grateful that you gave it a test drive. Okay, so you've been working with some of the stages and the practices from the True Nature Transformation Journey. It's a roadmap for your edges of change. Again, in today's training or today's replay, you've looked at some practices for the first 3 stages. There are other ones that show up with the other 3 stages, and this is what I wanted to share with you today. So thank you for your willingness to do inner work transformational practices. It is courageous and essential work, and particularly for these times, as I said, the more you go inward and resource yourself and connect with your true nature, the more you are present in the world in a way that contributes. It doesn't mean you have to do anything. Your presence as one who goes through a transformational journey can make a huge difference in the world. And some of you also feel called to certain actions in the world too. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your willingness to do your transformational work, whether it's with me and the roadmap or other ways. There are so many other ways. Thank you. Again, thank you for saying yes to the transformational journey. I just say it again and again and again, because you make a difference in the world. And you have no idea how you are impacting the world with your presence and who you're impacting in the world with your presence. So thank you. Tracy Kaufman says, your only and ultimate responsibility is self-alignment. And when you've got that, everything takes care of itself. Consciously going on a transformational journey is a way of doing self-alignment. And when you do it, things line up. Okay, so I'm going to finish this training by reminding you and inviting you to consider being part of the Vibes community. It's a membership community that is a way to be supported in your transformation journey. It uses the roadmap, the 6 stages of the roadmap, really specific process of going through the roadmap. And then also you have community calls and lots of ways to connect with community and kindred spirits so that you're really not alone in the transformation journey. I open the enrollment in the Vibes community twice a year. The next one is coming up July 27th to 30th. So if it's something you're interested in, stay tuned. And what is the Vibes community? Vibe stands for visionary, intuitive, brave, and embodied stewards. A visionary, you're carrying an inspired and creative sense of what could be. Intuitive, you have a sensitive and empathetic connection to others in the world. Brave, you have a courageous ability to meet and engage with life, not checking out, not disassociating. We all can do that, but the bravery it takes, the courage it takes to keep showing up and be present. Embodied, have a healthy ability to stay connected to the physical and everyday life. So important. Checking out doesn't help. It can be a survival strategy, and yet being in your body is really important. You are here. And stewards, able to carefully manage that which is entrusted to one's care, both inside and out. So here's what some of the Vibes community is saying about their experiences in the membership. One said, I would highly recommend the Vibes community membership to others. It is a wonderful platform for self-development and growth. Sheila is the most incredible guide, so much knowledge, compassion, and wisdom. Thank you for that. Another one said, so grateful for this. I've been amazed at how the new consciousness stays with me in my day-to-day. And one other person said, it felt very warm and comforting to be establishing a relationship with this community, and I look forward to its evolution and my evolution with the group. It's so important to have support on the transformation journey. So stay in touch with me to get more transformational resources, including more information on the Vibes community and how to enroll in it. And one of the best ways you can do that is go ahead and enroll in the free Windows of Wisdom 7-day challenge. You'll get the guided imagery journeys to help you access your 4 primary intelligences, and you'll get on my email list, so you'll get information on what's coming up and resources that I keep sharing to my community, whether you're in the Vibes community or not. So that's, again, go to www.truenaturetransformation.com/store. Okay, beautiful. All right, dear ones, thank you so much for being with me live. I'm going to go, and those of you on replay, thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording right now and stay tuned for Q&A if any of you want to be here for